Eric, welcome to All Things Crime.
Hey, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. I appreciate you coming on this morning.
No problem. Thank you for having me on.
Met you on LinkedIn, and for those of you that don't know, Sergeant Eric McCants is with the Burke County Sheriff's Department, and he's been there only a short time. But to get us started, I have to read this recommendation from your deputy sheriff, or the chief deputy, sorry, chief. He's saying Sergeant McCants is extremely valuable. His work ethic, thirst for knowledge, and self-improvement in his accomplishments. I tell you, it doesn't get much better as far as an endorsement than that. So that's one of the reasons that I wanted to have you on the show. Is it's amazing how many just amazing officers and deputies are out there. And I think you're a fantastic representative of that. And that's why I wanted you to have you on the show.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, so let's get right into it. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and kind of how you got into law enforcement?
Yes, well, I'm 29 years old. I started law enforcement when I was 20 years old. I was working at a neighborhood convenience store, which is Kroger, which is it's a grocery store. My mother said I need to get back to school. So I just so happened to see an officer there, standing there, and they was telling another person about going to the police academy. And I just became a little interested. I didn't think too much about it. Well, eventually I joined up to the police academy and went through it. And then I started my career, and then over time I fell in love with it. And like I said, become a strong passion of mine, being a law enforcement officer, helping others come into the law enforcement field.
And you've been with the Burke County Sheriff's about 4 years now?
Yes, sir. I started in 2017 when my sheriff won the election.
And how did you get started? I mean, everybody starts in patrol, right?
Yes, sir. Well, I started in a specialized division in housing. That's when I worked for Waynesburg Police Department. Then I went on to a college. I worked as campus security. Then I went over to the Richard County Board of Education, which is school system police. And you just work at the schools. And then when my sheriff won the election, I came over there as road patrol. And then I was on road patrol for a couple of months, able to make some good cases, stand out a little bit. And I was actually come over to the Special Operations Division, which is our crime suppression team. Make some more good cases over there. Was able to get my bachelor's and my master's in between time. And eventually, I was promoted up to sergeant on road patrol, which was night shift. After working on there for about 10, 11 months, I was able to get promoted over to our narcotics division, and that's where I'm currently at right now.
Oh, fantastic. You know, the interesting thing about the disconnect really between the population and law enforcement, I think partially comes from, well, just the communication between the department and the community, but also in forensics, which is where I reside mostly. Mm-hmm. There's what we call the CSI effect. Not sure if you've heard of that before, but the CSI effect is essentially when people watch shows like CSI or any kind of true crime show, Law and Order, anything like that, where that's kind of becomes their reality. Like they think that you should be able to solve a crime in days as opposed to the years or months or years that it actually takes. True crime is obviously amazing because it's turned the focus and the enthusiasm toward law enforcement and solving crime and investigations and those kind of things. But at the same time, I think it gives a real false impression of what it is you guys really do and some of the things you go through. So describe to me what it's really like when you first got started with the sheriff's department. What was a normal day like for you?
Well, I said we're in one of the biggest counties in Georgia, which is about 835 square miles, and we're normally run between 5 and 6 officers, but we don't have a high population. It's about 25,000 people there, so we wasn't booking calls left to right. But the thing about us, what made us unique is like you might have a call in one area of the county, and then it might take you, if you run lights and sirens, it still might take you 4 or 5 minutes to get to that call. And then there, like I say, my sheriff is real big on community service, so he wants us to get out, go to these businesses, talk to people, build that rapport. And this is how you build basically your informants or people that take your information when things happen. Because a lot of times when people are murdered or something serious like burglary's going on, they're going to tell somebody. And if you don't have anybody that's comfortable with talking to you, sometimes we just have to stand still just waiting for information to come through. So when you have people that you have a rapport with, they might pull you over to the side, might call you up later on that night and give you a little information that might help you break that case. So it's all about building a rapport with the people out there, letting them know that you're out there for them and that you're trying to keep them safe.
So on a typical night, how much time do you actually spend just in your patrol car driving around versus actually responding to a call?
Uh, we were running 12-hour shifts, so if you're on road patrol, you're going to be answering the majority of the calls, and you're going from call to call. And like I said, the call volume is not going to be high, but it's going to be distance in between it. And then, like I said, you're going to be checking businesses. So if you're in the car, you're going to be in the car, I would say about 8 hours. And then, like I said, in between that time, you might be getting lunch and answering calls. Most calls are going to last 10, 15 minutes at that, unless it's something complex. And then if it's something complex, it can last 15, 20 minutes, or it can last the whole shift. It just depends on the type of situation. Sometimes you might have to call out the investigators, you might have to call out a dog. It just depends on the situation. So, I mean, a call can last 10 minutes. Like I said, we work in a big county, and a lot of calls we have are like accidents for deer. We have deer just across the road everywhere. So that call can last 10 minutes. But then you go on to a burglary, or like I say, an armed robbery, something like that. That's going to take most of your shift up.
So as you became more seasoned, if you will, with the department, and you've already become a sergeant, again, like in less than 4 years, which is impressive. Gotten your master's degree in all that time. How'd you fit it all in?
It was kind of hard, just relying on my wife to help me out through certain processes. And like I said, my sheriff was always a big component of it. He always told me to get your education, make sure you're trying to pursue your goals and go further. Like I said, at first when I was like 20, I thought that just having a job was good enough, which it is. But if you want to progress and be a little bit better, get formal education. Like I always wanted to become an instructor. So I say I had some great instructors in my life. So being able to teach others is something that I always been passionate. But you just got to be able to have a good time management. I'm a procrastinator. I'll wait to the very end to write a paper. That was just one of my things. But over time, I get better at learning. If I go ahead and do it early, I have more free time to myself. That's something I had to work on, but eventually I got better with it. And like even sometimes when I had downtime in my patrol car, I read over assignments, drive a little bit, and get back to it, like my paperwork, and I can do it throughout the night. That's one good thing about working night shift. Like I said, night shift, a lot of times up to 2 or 3, the whole county, there's nothing really going on.
Yeah, at least you hope, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, that's amazing. And I know there's a lot of officers, a lot of law enforcement and crime scene investigators, those types, that they're constantly looking for ways to better themselves and ways to further their education. So kudos to you. I remember I was working full time when I decided to get my MBA, and there's a lot of online classes, a lot of homework that you got to be doing on your own. Like you said, if you procrastinate, that stuff can really pile up on you.
Okay.
Getting to it on a regular basis, developing those daily good habits, that's just absolutely critical. And to be able to do that while you're out there on patrol and in the middle of the night, that's kudos to you, man. That's awesome. So what you're into narcotics now. Anything in particular that is unique or special about that what you have to do for that division?
Being in narcotics, I'd say you have to be able to talk to people. You have to be able to build rapport with people, to let them trust you, to know that you have the best interest in it. You're not trying to get them hurt or anything like that. And basically what it is, man, you'll find somebody, they might be in some trouble, or they might know some information. Like you get talking to them, and you develop with them, and then like I said, he might give you information on where maybe this person's selling drugs, or you might know person from out of state bringing a large amounts of drugs to your county, and they'll give you that information. And then, like I said, it can lead from one thing to another place. One thing about narcotics is you can start off with a small bag of marijuana, and you end up seizing pounds of cocaine. It just depends on how you spend it. You got to be able to talk. You got to be able to know what you're doing. You got to be able to know how to keep the investigation going. Like I say, sometimes you can stop the investigation just by, saying the wrong words or losing the trust of the person you're talking to. So you just got to be able to have that rapport with the people. And also you got to have the rapport with the officers. You're going to need the help of officers to help you keep these cases going.
So there's just in general, and it's different for different areas, of course, but when you look at society as a whole right now, there's a general almost a disconnect, but there's also like a distrust for law enforcement compared to the community out there. Even if you, for example, you grew up in the town that you're now law enforcement, for some reason, when you put the badge on, it's all of a sudden you're a different person. You're the enemy. So how do you overcome that?
Well, like I said, it's all about building a rapport, talking to people. Like I say, a lot of times people haven't had a bad experience with law enforcement, but they see what happens on the media, and they know that it happens, and they assume that all officers have that in them. And like I say, almost all officers I work with, we never had any type of incident like that. But I understand that stuff like that happens. And you got to talk to people and let them know that, hey, this might have happened in this area. Like I said, we're just out here to take and serve, be your friends, situation that you're going through, and then let you go on about your day. Like I say, all we care about is solving crime. So we're not out here to hurt people. We're not out here to destroy lives. All we want to do is just uphold the law and go home safe to our families. And a lot of people, like I say, the media plays a part into that, showing only the worst side of law enforcement. And we try to build up with our department of showing that, we actually care about our community and we're out here doing community events. Just to let them know that we actually do care and that we're for the community and we want to make it better and not bring it down.
So I saw on your profile that you have 4 kids.
Yes.
Okay.
Or 5. I have
5.
Older daughter and then 4 boys.
Okay. Awesome. How do they feel about you being a sheriff's deputy?
Well, the 3 youngest, they love it. They all about it. They want to be police officers. They walk around with toy guns, shooting people and all that stuff. But the other 2, they enjoy it. They ask me questions about it. They're trying to get a general understanding because the oldest daughter, she wants to go to college to be basically a homicide detective. And like I told her, I said it takes a lot of work to get to it, but you can do it. I say you just got to be able to talk to people. I say when you're dealing with homicide, you're gonna deal with you people. You got to be able to break the ice with them. Because, most of the time they're not going to feel comfortable talking to police officers. You're going to have to build that rapport with them. From over the side, hey, if you have any information, you can call me later on. We don't have to do it out here in front of everybody. But for the most part, they all enjoy being law enforcement. My wife, at times, she doesn't have a problem with being law enforcement. She just knows the danger that comes with it. And sometimes she gets a little scared that, I might go into a situation, I might not come out of it. But I told her, I said, that's for any job. It can happen to anybody. So you just prepare for the worst, but hope for the best.
Absolutely. So if you had any kind of advice for somebody that wanted to get into law enforcement, what would you tell them?
I would tell them, first of all, that's one of the best careers you have. The thing about law enforcement is that you have so many different visions and entities that you can do. Like I say, you can stay at the state level, you can go to the local level, you can go to federal level. And the thing about it is, like at a local department, there's so many things. You can be a road patrol officer, you can be community service, you can do traffic, you can do narcotics, you can do specialized division, you're a SWAT. You just have to figure out what fits you. Like I say, what fits everybody else is not going to fit others. Like I say, me, honestly, I can run traffic. I just don't like doing it. I'd say I just prefer sitting on the side of the highway, looking at the vehicles passing by. And like I say, just trying to identify if they're involved in illegal activity. That's something I enjoy doing. But some others like playing with kids, having barbecues, just enjoying with the community. That's what some officers have to do. So basically what law enforcement is, you have so many different things that you can do. You just have to find the right one that fits you. So I would tell them, figure out what you want to do and then go for that. Like I say, even then, you don't have to stay at the local level. You can go state, you can go federal, you can work at a college, you can work anywhere. You can do Capitol Police. I mean, it's just so many different things you can do inside law enforcement. So you just got to figure out what you want to do.
Any particular steps that you would recommend? Certain type of degree, or do ride-alongs? Get involved in the community level. What would you recommend on that?
Well, yeah, like I said, ride-alongs is always good. Also, like I say, if you're a agency that you're around has what we call like a sports program or a citizens academy, that's a good way to get involved just to see a little bit of what officers do. If you're going to be officer, go ahead and go to the academy and go ahead and try to get your degree. Like I say, having a degree is going to give you a little edge over everybody. It's not going to make you any better, but with a degree and experience, it makes you more valuable asset to your department. Like I say, you'll be able to explain things a little bit better, like great reports, and be able to help out a little bit better. But basically, like I say, if you have like a citizens academy or Explorer program, or you can do a ride along with officers, that'd be a good thing. Because like I said, we have many people that have rode along with us, especially when I was on my specialized division, and they enjoyed every minute of it. Like I say, not every day is going to be running together. You're not going to be out chasing people every day, but that little bit of action gets people hooked. And I told them, yeah, it's going to be days when you're not going to do anything. You're going to be out there taking reports. You're going to be out there in the rain trying to direct traffic. Those days suck, but it comes with it. But there's just going to be some days when you're going balls to wall, one end of the county to the next, chasing people, doing what you got to do and taking care of business. So you just got to figure out what you like. So I said, a lot of officers are Class A, Type A personalities. We like that action. So that's just what we look for. And I said, we know it's not going to happen every day, but when it does happen, we're all for it.
Yeah, it kind of makes up for those down days.
Yes, sir, it does.
Yeah, the military is the same way. We train and train and train for months on end for that one mission, that even if it's just an exercise in the backwoods of Kentucky, there's these big, massive missions that, they last 24, 48 hours. And that those months of training and getting ready for that 48 hours makes it all worth it. So it's one of those things that, yeah, I think it comes in little spurts, like for you guys a lot more often than that. But It's kind of the same concept that if you want a little diversity and you want more of a action lull type of a thing, then I think law enforcement is a great place to be.
Yes, sir. That's it. Because you just never know what you're gonna walk into every day. Something different.
I love ending shows with something that is the type of story that you tell at Thanksgiving. Everybody wants to hear about some crazy story. So do you have any of those that you want to share?
I have one in particular. Like I said, I was part of the specialized division, and at times we had to do what we call transport from our investigations office to the jail. So one day we had a guy in there. He was going to jail. He was already in handcuffs, but he had the handcuffs in front of him. So I was taking the guy to jail. So I was walking him out of our office, and I was about to put him in my patrol car, but one of the officers inside the office where we was at called me. So I just happened to turn around, and it's like, okay, do you need something? And by that time, all I heard was handcuffs jiggling. The guy had took off running. So lo and behold, we had to give chase. He jumped over the fence. I ran through the fence. As you know, I'm a pretty big boy. I couldn't make it over the fence, so I ran over the fence. I tried to tase him. The taser didn't go right. He ran over another fence and jumped that fence. I ran through the fence, busted up the fence, little old wooden picket fence, messed it up. But just as we were running, I happened to shout out, and then my other officers heard me. So we run across the street, across a busy road that's in our jurisdiction. Almost get hit by cars. Then just out of nowhere, I can hear my other officer screaming, "We're coming, we're coming." At that time, as big boy, I'm giving out of gas. Like, I'm trying to keep the guy in sight, but I'm chugging it in. I'm like, but I just so happened to see one of the younger officers I work with. Like, he's on LinkedIn too, named Dakota Clark. He has on glasses, and all I see is just his head moving. He's coming full speed, and he zoomed past me with a couple of other officers, and they was able to get him. I mean, he was still in handcuffs, but we was able to take him back into custody, take him back to our office, do what we need to do, and get him back where he need to do it. Just so I think I'm glad they hurt me, because it would be kind of bad to lose a person that's already in custody and handcuffs, just to the sheer fact that he got away. I said that would be kind of hard to explain. But the good thing, they heard me scream out. They came running. Good thing they had better cardio than I did, so they were able to catch him.
Well, I see some of the posts you do on LinkedIn, and you're always working out, man. So yeah, you may not have the greatest cardio, but I'll tell you what, I look at those guns and I'm like, that's the last thing I want to mess with right there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean, I can run, but like I said, once I give them all, I'm good for 200 yards. Like I said, that train's going to come down real quick.
Oh, no. Some of us have endurance, and some of us have, short burst type speed. So I imagine that's probably what you. I can just picture you, just running through those fences. Screw that! I'm not jumping over those things.
Yeah, I tried to jump over it, man. It just fell down. I was like, "Yep, that's it." Run through it. I said, we'll patch it up when we get back to it.
Oh, that's awesome. All right. Well, hey, I appreciate you coming on the show. I'll definitely let you know when I get this thing posted. But, people like you and other law enforcement officers and people that are involved in investigations, and that's really the whole purpose of this show, is to show the other side of you guys, because I think, like you said, the media, I don't think they do it maliciously, but they're always looking for the excitement and the way to sensationalize a story. And part of that is demonizing law enforcement. And it really makes me mad when they do that, because 99% of the time it's just totally unjustified. I've met thousands of you guys, not only in the United States, but across the world, in doing what I do. And when I get to meet you guys, every single one of you are the type of guy that, I would gladly have you in the backyard doing a barbecue, and your kids playing with my kids. It's like I don't understand where the demonization comes from, but that's the reality of the moment, and that's where we're at. And so in trying to counter that in some ways, that's one of the primary reasons I started this video cast of all things crime. And it's I hope I'm doing you guys justice, but at the same time, just having people like you on the show and being able to broadcast that out, I think is really a big help for everybody. So I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate you coming on.
Well, I appreciate you having me, sir. Just building rapport with people and letting them understand that we're all humans. We're all trying to do what's right by others. And while we do have bad apples in law enforcement, for the most part, none of us are like that. Like I say, you might have maybe 1% or 2% of officers that have that type of stuff in them. And like I say, more than likely, one of them days and something goes wrong. But just trying to get the public to understand that it's a problem that we have. And shows like this and others are trying to paint a good picture on law enforcement. It's helping out tremendously.
Yeah, one of the things that I would highly recommend that you guys do, and I think in the law enforcement community, as you guys communicate to other departments and within within your own department, posting stuff like what you do, getting, when you're interacting with the community and doing, in fact, before you go, you have to tell me about the Shop for Cops thing.
Well, it's something that my sheriff does every year. He does an annual bike drive. He does a toy giveaway, and then he does a shop for cops. We have picked like between 15 and 20 kids, and then he'll give them $100 gift card to Walmart, and basically he'll pair them with one officer, and basically we'll go through whatever they want to get. And if it's under $100, and sometimes we have other officers where they might go over $100. They'll use their money to pay for it, but basically they'll go to the store, pick out what they want to get, and we'll just buy it for them. And like I say, it's a good program to not only build a rapport with kids, but also show them that we care. Like I said, sometimes, it's a hard time for many families, especially this year, trying to provide Christmas gifts, trying to maintain, the rent and everything else. And just having that little bit of extra help helps a lot. And like I say, my sheriff does many different programs throughout the year to help out the community and just let them know that we're here to help, and that if you need us, we'll come there and we'll try our best to solve the situation.
Oh, that's just fantastic. See, those kind of things are what the media doesn't talk about enough. And I really wish they would. And so since they won't, my opinion is you guys need to do it yourselves. You got to take advantage of the good things that you guys do on a daily basis. And you've got to get that word out better. And I think posting positive pictures and comments, and even, getting an interview of somebody that you've helped, those kind of things, it's all kind of a PR thing, but there's so much negative press out there and distrust and all that kind of stuff, which is 99% of the time, it's totally unwarranted. I've talked to some other detectives, and they've said, nobody hates a bad cop more than the good cops. You guys have, it may take a little while, and unfortunately, a lot of times it won't manifest itself until they're in some kind of a situation, like the officer that, had his knee on the neck of the victim in Minneapolis, that kind of thing. The problem is that's such an isolated incident, and yet it gets blasted out there like every single cop is doing that every day. And that's just totally wrong. But at the same time, there's nothing really to counter it. I mean, there's little things like this video cast, that I'm trying to do, but there's something like 680,000 police officers out there, and law enforcement officers. And so you guys are a massive force just by yourselves. And I'm telling you, if you would start posting, I know you guys don't like to toot your own horn, but at the same time, you have to be your own best advocates. And I just highly recommend you guys to get putting that information out there more, because there's so much good that happens, and yet it is so underreported both by the media and by yourselves. And so that's just one of the things that I try to tell everybody. I'm like, when you have something that good happens, that's just as important to post as when something bad happens.
Well, that's one thing I'm not sure it's real big on, just showing that our community, we're involved in the community. They do it more on Facebook. Like I say, we just put out there, like, we're going to have an event like a toy drive or something. We'll let the community know. And we try to show it that way to let them know that we're just trying to be a positive influence in the community, and let them know that our officers out there to help them to get through whatever they're going through. And that's not also just in the law enforcement aspect, but it's just being a friend. If they need money to get through a situation, like I say, many times we have situations where something traumatic might happen, like a person's house might burn down, or they might lose all their gifts to a house fire. It's just certain things like that happen. We had officers in our department that they take money out their own pocket and buy gifts for families and clothes, stuff like that. And just with small things like that I think would help paint a better picture of law enforcement. I know it's going to be kind of hard to go against the media. If I say they're just going to have a majority of people's attention, but just little small things like that at least change one person's opinion of us. And that's all we're looking for.
Absolutely fantastic. Again, Eric, I appreciate you coming on, and especially spending a few minutes on a Saturday morning with me. If you have anything else, big case or something that you want to come on and talk about, we'd love to have you on again.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you having me on again.
All right. You have a great weekend.
All right. You have a good day. Stay safe.
Okay. Thanks.